What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. I'm Michigan Sports Talk here. In this video, we go over what Joel Klatt had to say on Michigan and why he is a big believer in Michigan this upcoming season, specifically with their dominant defense and new and improved offense. Plus, we also go over Jyaire Hill, a first-round pick in early 2026 NFL mock drafts, and obviously, he won't be the only one potentially being a first-round pick. We also go over a little bit more on some potential Michigan recruiting punishments, what they mean for the Wolverines, and then also we got some recruiting news on wide receiver recruiting. Michigan getting a top 100 wide receiver on campus for an official visit, as the Wolverines trying to land some elite receivers in the 2026 class. It's all going to be in this video and more, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so we talked about the Sharon Moore suspension yesterday in yesterday's video if you guys missed that, but today wanted to start this video by talking about Joel Klatt and his post-spring top 25 college football rankings, as he ranked Michigan number 12, and he also shared why he is a big believer in Michigan, as he said on his podcast that last year they beat USC, they beat Ohio State, they beat Alabama, and in those games their offense did virtually nothing. And specifically in that game against Alabama, remember all the guys that were going to the draft weren't playing in that game, so they stopped Jalen Milroe in Alabama basically with the group of guys that are going to be playing this year. And Wink Martindale figured it out. He said, I thought early in the year there were growing pains with him coming back to college. He just had to dumb it down. He's too smart. So he said, he learned the college game a little bit more, the tendencies of it, and that defense took off in the second half of the year. So because of that, that's going to allow their offense to get its footing. He also went on to say, that they've got that tough early game against Oklahoma on the road, but he said, think about it. They beat Ohio State, they beat Alabama, and in those two games they had 234 yards and then 190 yards of offense. That's it. So they don't need to be great on the offensive side. But he said, now if the offense is good, this is a top 10 team. He later said that I know they have to replace players like Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, and Will Johnson, but that defense, even without those players, largely stopped Alabama in that bowl game when they got that win. And even more so, Michigan was without Will Johnson in the game against Ohio State. So I definitely agree with everything Joel Klatt said right there. And it's why it's kind of nice to have Wink Martindale back another year, but also to see that glimpse from this defense in that bowl game against Alabama. It gives you some hope early in the season that even if the offense is just trying to find their footing, the defense can carry this team through the early stages of this season, especially in that game against Oklahoma, and especially if Michigan's starting quarterback is true freshman Bryce Underwood. He might need some time, especially in that Oklahoma game, to find a rhythm. But there's no doubt when you look at the second half of the season for Michigan with the offense they had last season, if the offense is just, good next season, they don't have to be great. They don't have to be a top 5 offense. They just have to be good enough like they were in 2023. And then the defense, they'll take care of the rest. So let me know what you guys think. I thought that was interesting, but definitely agree with Joel Klatt's take. And I also wanted to talk about something else that's interesting, as Jyaire Hill, Michigan junior cornerback going into his junior season, is a first-round draft pick in early 2026 NFL mock drafts. Now, obviously, Michigan's got players like Rod Moore, Derek Moore, Rayshawn Benny, Ernest Hausman, Jayshon Barham, many others who have a chance to be not only just draft picks, but also high draft picks. And one of those guys apparently could be Jyaire Hill, as he's already showing up on way too early mock drafts for 2026. Obviously, with the chance that he will declare early after his third college season and third season with Michigan. Now, Brent Sobleski of Bleacher Report placed Hill as the number 15th pick to the Dallas Cowboys. He said he has explosive movement skills and the fluid athleticism and change of direction ability to come down and cover slot receivers. And then also Todd McShay also projected Jyaire Hill to go to the Vikings at number 21 overall in his way too early mock draft. As he said, Hill is tabbed as the next in a recent line of great Michigan cornerbacks to hear their names called early in the NFL draft. Then Hill also checked in at number 29 overall to the Baltimore Ravens on Fox Sports analyst Rob Ring's projection. So it's definitely pretty interesting. Obviously, Jyaire Hill is going to be should be starting cornerback for Michigan alongside with Zeke Berry. And he obviously had a big learning curve last season where he had to step in and step up when Will Johnson was out and when Michigan had injuries in the secondary. And he did step up, especially later in the season. And hopefully that carries over to a breakout season for him here in this upcoming season. So let me know what you guys think about that. Jyaire Hill getting projected or coming in as a first-round pick in early 2026 NFL mock drafts. But the next thing I did want to talk about in this video is some recruiting news, but first, some more on the Sherrone Moore punishments. And obviously, he is expected to get a 2-game suspension, as Michigan is planning to self-impose that 2-game suspension on him as long as the NCAA does agree with that punishment and accepts it. Now, right now, nothing is set in stone yet. And then there's also Michigan is also set to face some recruiting punishments, which we talked about a little bit yesterday, as they're set to face potentially a 7.5% reduction in official visits for 1 year, and then also a 3-week ban on recruiting communications, as that seems to be already underway though, as according to E.G. Holland of the Wolverine, Michigan coaches have not been seen out on the recruiting trail the last couple weeks. I also don't expect them to be on the recruiting trail until the week of May 19th, which will be obviously a big week for the staff. Go and see top targets, since they are kind of behind right now, as well as behind in the 2027 class as well. As usually around this time, Michigan sends out a ton of offers during this period, as certain states hold actual spring practices, so they are a little behind as usual and may have to evaluate a ton of film on underclassmen and also get them in for camps. But obviously could be worse, a lot worse. And Michigan, just like us, just trying to get this nonsense out of the way, because I don't really think anybody really cares about this anymore, other than obviously rival fans who try to make this a big deal. But just wanted to touch up a little bit more on that, and also wanted to mention that Javion Osborne, obviously some of you guys already know, has committed to Notre Dame. He committed on May 3rd, a few days ago. But keep in mind, Michigan has already told Javion Osborne that they're not going to stop recruiting him. They're going to continue to recruit him. And then obviously Michigan's still going after the #1 running back, Savion Hyder, who is a major top priority for the Wolverines in the 2026 class. And then I also wanted to mention that the 2026 4-star top 100 wide receiver Zion Robinson from the state of Texas, he is ranked 71st nationally on 24/7 Sports rankings. He is set to make his official visit on June 13th to Michigan, as he locks up an official visit with the Wolverines, as Michigan a top contender right now in his recruitment. He also did recently visit Michigan for the spring game. He is a 6'4" receiver, which is something Michigan obviously has been trying to prioritize at the wide receiver position, is taller, bigger bodied receivers. And Michigan's going after a lot of talented receivers this class. They're still going after the top 100 receiver Kelvin Russell, obviously the in-state receiver slash defensive back CJ Sadler. Talked about Christian Ward, Davion Brown, and obviously this is a big class to bring in some talented receivers, especially for Bryce Underwood here, and the future for him here at Michigan. He needs to throw the ball to some top elite wide receiver targets. Michigan's obviously going to try to get that accomplished in the 2026 class and also moving forward. But with that is going to wrap up this video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure to go ahead, drop a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more if you are new around here. I greatly appreciate it, and we will see you guys in the next video. Go Blue.